Hello ladies and gentlemen, Meers here, and today I'm making the highly requested Element 3D motion tracking tutorial video. So, to start, we're going to want to import our cinematic. You should already have it imported and have it in your comp, but I'm going to make the comp with this cinematic because I can. And this is not a very long cinematic, so I'm just going to leave all of it. It is about 3 seconds of cinematic, so I'm just going to leave it all there. The first thing you're going to do once you've imported it, you have to make sure that you have not disabled audio on it. You don't want audio on your clip. You want to make sure you haven't scaled or time remapped your thing at all, that it's just the base video and cut to the section you want it. So then you're going to want to add track the camera on the clip. So to do that, once you have your layer highlighted, come into this. You should be able to. Can you do it from here? You can do it from here. Right click and hit track camera, and it will start the process of tracking the camera. And I will come back to you guys when it's done tracking. Alright, so our camera has tracked and solved, and you should have all these points on your screen right now. Typically, if it's not showing you the points, and that means you have another layer highlighted. If I were to click off this layer, the points disappear. If I click the layer again and then click the camera tracker, boom, there's all our points. So now that we have the camera tracked, what we're going to want to do is copy this layer right now by hitting layer and hitting Control D. Now I'm going to rename this bottom layer footage, and this top layer that I've duplicated environment, and you'll learn why I do that in a bit. So next, after we've duplicated the layer, and if you feel like you need to change the names, go for it, you delete the camera tracker off the environment layer. Bang. And we're going to come back here for just a second. Hit the camera tracker. We're going to find where we want this text. I think I want it right about there. I'm going to try to do this so I don't have to mask. I will make a separate masking video if I get a lot of questions on it. So it looks like I'm going to have my text about here. I'm going to highlight these points here. No, bad. Alright, around here too. That looks like a good area for our text. So once we've highlighted some points, we're going to right click the points we've highlighted. Oh, and all you do is click and drag for that lasso tool that I just used. I forgot to say that. Once you've highlighted some points, we're going to right click and hit create null and camera. We're going to leave that as is for now, and we're going to come back to this environment tab right now. Once we're on the environment tab, we don't have the camera tracker on this because we've deleted it, remember. We're going to right click the environment, right click it, go to time, and hit freeze frame. So now it should be stuck on this still frame for the whole thing. And to get rid of that, we're just going to disable the view on this layer by hitting the eyeball. Hit the eyeball, our frames should be moving again. Once we've done all this, we need to put the text in, and not the Element 3D text, but the text of what we want it to say. For the case being, I'll have it say Meers for now, and then we are going to disable the text. Trust me, it's only there because you need the data for the text. It will show up as a layer in Element, which is what we want. Now, after we've done that, we need to make a new solid. So, I believe it is Control-Shift-Y. I guess not. So, new layer, solid, Control-Y. Dang it. So, we're going to name this, I typically name it whatever I call my text, and then Element 3D, E3D. Make it comp size. I typically make it black. I've never made it another color, so I don't really know if it makes a difference, but okay that. Now we have this right now. This is what we are going to be putting the Element plugin on. Sorry, just stumbled right there. So we search for our element and we drop it on our solid. It should cut to this is what we want. It should show us our things again once we drop it on. Now we're gonna go into the custom layers on this. Custom text and mask. So obviously you can probably guess this is where we're gonna put our text layer. Our text layer is Meers, so we select that. Next we're gonna go into our custom texture maps, and this is where we're gonna put the environment. Once we've put those two in, we can go into the scene. And we're going to start creating our 3D text. So to make your text appear, you're going to hit extrude. It should show up just like that. And then you're going to want to hit this environment button here. There will be a drop down arrow here, which you will select. And then this is, it says custom layer 1 carrier5.mp4. This is our environment that we put in. Since we put it in and the custom texture maps, it does recognize it within the element scene setup. So we want to highlight this, which means reflections will reflect that. We're gonna hit OK. It might show up, it should show up in the background. Maybe not, I don't know. But we're just gonna put a preset bevel on it for now, or material, it doesn't really matter. Alright, we'll do this. We're just going to drop this gold onto it. Now, if you're wondering how you add your own texture to it, here it is. You hit these and you hit this, and you can browse for like an image or something, and it'll map it onto the text. Typically I put it on the diffuse, specular, and reflection. I think it looks pretty good. Illumination, you can mess with whatever you want. But for now, we're just going to leave the stock gold text. We're going to hit OK. We just need our text in. It may not show up right now, but it will in 1 second, because it is not on the right points right now. We want to go to Particle Replicator under Group 1, and we'll have all our points here for text. And this is why we made our track null. We're going to hit our track null, transform, and it shows the points of our null. So we're going to copy this in. So we just copied the X, and we're going to paste that in for the X. And there's our text. We'll copy the Y, and paste it in for our Y. And then we're going to copy the Z, and paste it in for our Z. It shows up right there. A little bit small, but we're going to fix it. So now we're going to drop down our particle look. And this will, rotation is here in case you need to mess with rotation, which I will in a bit. But for now, we are going to adjust the particle size and probably the position. So we want it to go right, so we're going to move it right. And I don't like having my text on the ground, so I'm going to lift it a little bit. And it looks like we're also going to want to rotate this. So we're going to rotate it. I believe it's the Y rotation. Yes, it is. A little too much. Alright, that looks good. And then we want to make it a little bigger. So particle size is our text. Bump it up. Bump it up to something you can see. I'm just going to toss in 32. That looks decent. And we can drop down that. We don't need that anymore. And I'm just going to scrub through this and just take a look. And right now, we have our text in a position where we will not need to mask, which is good news for us. Now, the next things I'm going to do will require masking because of this area right here. It's a little close and it might cut through, but you can look up another video on how to mask. It is not very difficult. It's a very simple thing to do. So, a lot of people have their text come in as different pieces. Well, like I typically don't, but some people have it come together as different pieces. So, to do that is a thing called multi-object. So we're going to drop this down, enable multi-object, and it'll give us a whole nother menu of things we can use. This place is what moves our text. So if, as you can see, that's how our text spreads. We're going to undo that. You can keyframe this. So let's say we want our text to come together at this spot. And let's also keyframe the rotation of these. Alright, so this is the rotation we want to keyframe. This is when we want our text to come together. And let's say we come way back here. and we decide this is where our text is going to spread out. And let's try to do this so we don't have to mask. That would be beautiful. So it looks like I can push it just a little more. Maybe 0.32, 0.34, 0.4. Alright, looks like that's about as far as I can push it without masking. And we're also going to mess with the rotation here, so I want to go this way with it. Now, if I were to RAM preview this, it might take a while, I don't know. Alright, not really. As you can see, now the text is coming back together, rotation is fixing itself, and the text is joining at that point where I made the first keyframe. That's how you mess with some of the multi-object settings. There's a lot more you can do with it. A lot of people make their text come through the ground. Basically, you just mask out that layer through the ground. It's very simple, and it will start to appear through the ground. It looks very nice. So I'm going to render this out. I'll toss it at the end of the video. This is basically how you motion track with Element. It is not very difficult at all. I believe it's much quicker and much easier, and it's all in AE, and it's beautiful. The one thing I like to do at the end of this, though, is after I have messed with all my element settings, I like to pre-comp all of this into one thing. I hit this. Pre-compose. And I'll typically name it, it's like Meers track. And now that is all my components in one composition. And since this was recorded with a Hauppauge HD PVR, you have a little black line there. Fix it by scaling that to 101. Gets rid of the black bar. Now we have all the space in the world to enjoy this motion track. I'm going to render it out. Thanks for watching, guys. Any other questions, leave them in the comment section below. I will answer any questions that arise. I'm going to have some other videos coming out soon too about just videos people really wanted me to make, because I'm in a really weird spot right now, and I'm not quite sure if I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up quitting trick shotting for a while. But I'm making all the videos that people ask, trick shot tutorials, stuff like that, that people really wanted to see before I pack my things and leave, I guess, so to say. So, thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like in the comment if you enjoyed. Questions down below. I'll be sure to get to everything. I'll probably make some other editing tutorials in the future. That's been it. Peace.